This is Pinewood, one of the biggest film studios in Europe and the heart of Britain's screen trade. I'm Nick Phillips. I've had a career in film and television for more than 40 years, and I've been a successful producer and director for more than 30. I've worked with hundreds, if not thousands, of actors, and I know just how hard it is for them to get work, to learn effective screencraft, and to make acting their full-time job. Being an actor might seem an easy life choice, but I can assure you it isn't. The frequent lows of rejection and the rare highs of acclaim make it a roller coaster vocation. This program can't teach you to be an actor. What it can do is offer some plain speaking advice about 3 important aspects of an actor's working life. Whatever your level of skill, there's lots of useful stuff here for you. Part 1 is Audition with Confidence. Together with casting director Catherine Willis, we'll show you the way to be better at an actor's most important job, getting a job. Part 2 is what this program's called, Screen Acting Close Up. Some essential performance technique, together with examples of what to do and what not to do on camera. Part 3 is Making the Business Your Business. Producer Tim Kent will tell you about getting an agent, building an acting career, and answering the most frequently asked questions about working as a screen actor. You can watch these sections in any order and of course refer back to them whenever you need. So, you choose. It's very likely that during your entire career as an actor, you'll have to audition for every part you play. Unless you have box office appeal, that means your celebrity name puts bums on seats, it's certain you'll have to audition for a casting director, a director, maybe a writer and a producer every time. As a result, you will not work as an actor unless you take a serious, professional approach to auditioning. This is true whatever your entry level, whether or not you have an agent. Casting director Catherine Willis has a wealth of experience and a distinguished list of credits in theatre, film and television. She'll be taking you through the process of a standard screen audition and answering some frequently asked questions about the casting process. Before that, I'm going to give you some useful pointers about how to prepare and perform during the interview. Let's go from the start. When you get a call for an audition, there are some important things you must find out. This may sound oversimplified, but this information is vital to your success. What kind of show is it? Film or TV, comedy or drama, factual, corporate, commercial? If you're up for a guest part in a current TV series, you should watch an episode so you get the tone of the show. You can find segments of almost everything on YouTube. Who is the character you're auditioning for? Ask for as full a description as possible. Your choices of dress, accent and attitude can make a difference. Where is the audition? It's part of every actor's job to find your way around. When is the audition? Check and double check the time and date. Get a phone number, especially if you don't have an agent, so you can call if you're delayed. Busy people get cross if they're kept waiting without a reason. This is very, very important. Can I get the script in advance? Ask every time, especially if you have reading difficulties, but make sure you have email and access to a working computer and a printer. It all seems blindingly obvious, doesn't it? But you'd be amazed how often, in the nervous excitement of getting a call, these simple necessities are overlooked. To be good at auditioning, you must take a calm, organised, professional approach. When you first get your script,
Whether it be at home or in advance, or at the place where you're auditioning, start by reading it through carefully from beginning to end. Don't just read your part. Read all the words, including the stage directions, in the order they're written down. You need to understand what the stuff's about. Be aware of the punctuation. It's usually there for a reason. Then read it all again, thinking about where you fit into the story. When reading, many actors often use nothing but instinct, with the expectation they'll simply get the drift. Some are very good at this, but if you want the best chance of getting the part, do some homework. Try to find answers to some of these questions.
What's your character's status? Do you feel superior or inferior to other characters, and why? What's your character's physical condition? For example, if you're playing a hospital patient, are you in pain? What's your character's mental state? Lost in love, a proud new parent, or a desperate felon? All three, or none of these? What then? What does your character want? Love? Approval? Revenge? What does your character feel? Ecstasy? Shame? Rage? Indifference? Where's the conflict? Where are the flashpoints in your scenes? They must be dramatically interesting. Where's the harmony? If your character is just getting along with everyone, what's their function? Where's the humour? Is there a place where your character can show some sense of humour, or is that inappropriate? Where are the turning points? Where does your character learn something new, something that pleases or surprises, shocks or enrages?
Your ability to recognise and react to these turning points, the reversals of expectation in a story, is very important. If you can find and make something, however subtle, of a turning point or a significant moment in each scene, it shows you understand the job to be done.
A major part of your work as an actor is to learn text. If you get the script in advance, and this is not always possible, do your best to learn it. It's both a sign of ability and professional commitment, and will enable you to concentrate on giving a worthwhile performance.
Some shows, especially the soaps, won't let you have script pages in advance, since the storylines are kept secret. If you haven't already got the script and want the best possible chance to get the part, arrive at the audition early.
You'll be directed to a waiting area where you'll probably sit with other actors there to audition. Some of them may be up for the same part as you. Try not to fall into the trap of making this competition your problem. They're likely to be as anxious as you are. Sit as calmly as you can and go carefully through the reading and analytical steps I described earlier. Read all the scenes, including the stage directions, carefully twice. Try to answer these questions about the character you're auditioning for. What is your status? What is your physical condition? What is your mental condition? What do you want? What do you feel? Where is the conflict? Where is the harmony? Where is the humour? Where are the turning points?
Above all, remember this: you can only bring yourself to the role. It's you they've asked to see. Don't waste your energy trying to second guess what they want. You have as good a chance as anyone else of getting the part. They don't always know what they want. Your job is to go into the audition and show them you as the character. Embrace a positive mental attitude.
Be patient. You may be kept waiting, but it's because they're busy. It's not to spite you, so don't let your paranoia take hold. More time gives you more opportunity to understand the text. When you're called, it's generally a good idea to leave your stuff in the waiting room.
Alton Leto.
This is to avoid forgetting to pick it up when you leave the casting room and having to make an apologetic reappearance. If you do take your stuff into the casting, turn your phone off and take the script with you.
Remember, it's you they want to see. Casting directors don't call actors in to make up numbers. There isn't time in a working day for that. They want you to be the one to be chosen so they can get on with other things. Go into that room with a positive mental attitude. Be watchable. Sparkle.
So here we go. Alton, this is Anthony, our director. Anthony, this is Alton.
Hi, Alton.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for coming in today.
That's all right. No problem.
Just grab yourself a seat.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Great. So how are you? Have you been keeping busy? Have you got a lot on at the moment?
Yeah. I've been really well. I've been doing a bit of my own writing and stuff. I'm hoping to send a show to Edinburgh this year. So
Fantastic. Have you got your venue booked? I hear that's the key to success in Edinburgh.
nearly, hopefully, sometime this week. I've got a friend who's sorting something out, so fingers crossed.
Fantastic. What kind of show is it? You doing comedy or?
Yeah, it's kind of a comedy about me like growing up in Essex and stuff. So it's a lot of my own kind of like family life and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a bit of serious stuff like thrown in there as well. But yeah, it should be quite funny.
So, and are you writing it or are you directing it?
Yeah, I'm writing it. I'm in it as well. So yeah, it'd be cool.
Good stuff. How exciting!
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Excited.
Okay, well we sent you some scenes.
Yeah. You did.
And you've had a chance to have a look over them.
Yeah.
Have you got any questions?
No. I think it's all. Yeah.
All makes sense.
All makes sense. Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, listen, let's have a read of something.
Cool.
Great.
You're reading scene 2.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, we'll start with that, and I'll be Alicia for you. Okay.
Brilliant.
Good to go.
Yeah.
How was your day?
Good. Yeah. Good. Kara's old man ploughed through this morning, all backslapping and bonhomie as usual, chatting up the girls. Old lech.
How is Max?
Successful, rich.
Alton hasn't actually learnt the script, and he's constantly looking at it, reading rather than performing.
Your day?
Fine. Usual stuff. It's what I do. Stuff. It's all so tedious. Ben, I think we need to talk.
Talk? I know, look, it's not the money thing again, is it? I thought we'd done all that.
No, it's not the money thing.
Good.
His reading is slow and it's theatrical.
What then?
He's not responding to what he's hearing.
Oh, God, I thought we'd agreed. We can adopt. We agreed, didn't we, Alicia?
Ben, there's something I have to tell you.
What? What could you possibly tell me?
Most of the time, Alton is reading the script, and he's constantly looking down. His expression can't be clearly seen by the camera.
Is there?
Good. Well done.
Cool.
Okay, happy with that?
Yeah, really.
Great. Do you want to? Are you happy? You want to see that
Absolutely.
again?
No, not at
Okay.
all. That's great.
Well, listen, that's all we need for today. It's our first day, so we're seeing quite a few people, and then we might need to get folk back to match pairs up and all that sort of thing. But that's all we need for today.
Brilliant. Cool.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming
Cheers.
in.
Thanks a lot.
Alton is actually a very accomplished actor. He was making mistakes to show you some of the pitfalls, and he only read one scene. You might be asked to do all the scenes you've been given. Now, let's see how Susanna does.
Susanna.
Hi,
Nice to meet
Susanna.
you. Hi.
Thank you very much for coming in today.
My pleasure.
Grab a seat.
Thank you.
Good to see you today.
Yeah.
So how have you been keeping? Have you been keeping busy?
Yeah, I'm well. I mean, it's quiet, I think, for everybody at the moment. So I'm just keeping busy doing some workshops in screen acting, actually, which has been fantastic.
Yeah, good stuff.
Just to mix more experience in front of the camera, which I think really helps. And also teaching at a drama school on Saturdays, doing Shakespeare with people who want to become actors themselves. So it's useful to be on the other side and see what it's like.
Great.
So it's going well, yeah, everything's fine.
Oh, good stuff. Okay, well, we sent you some script to look at.
Yep.
So all we're going to do is have a look at a scene and take it from there. So
And you got scene 2?
Yes, that's the one I've learnt, yeah.
Fantastic.
Fabulous. Have you got any questions about it or anything?
No, I don't think so. It's fairly explanatory.
Great.
Yeah.
OK, well, let's give it a go. I'm going to read Ben for you.
OK.
Just get this fired up. So just take your time, and when you're ready, you start, OK?
OK, lovely, thanks. How was your day?
Good, yeah, good. Carol's old man ploughed through this morning, all backslapping and bonhomie as usual, chatting up the girls, the old lech.
How is Max?
Successful, rich bastard. Gave me a very warm handshake.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Yes, nice, yeah. Good to be mates with the boss, I suppose. Your day?
Fine. Usual stuff. That's what I do. Stuff. It's all so tedious.
Susie has learned the script.
Ben,
This enables her to concentrate on the reader.
Is it? I thought we'd done all that.
She's listening,
Good, only my hair.
she's reacting, she's showing emotion. Her face position means that we can see clearly what's going on.
Agreed, we can adopt. We agreed, didn't we, Alicia?
Ben, there's something I have to tell you.
What? What can you possibly tell me that I don't already know? I fire blanks, I can't give you a baby, I play cards, I lose money. There's nothing you can tell me I don't already know, is there? Is there? Lovely. Good. OK, you happy with that?
Absolutely.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Well, listen, this is our first day meeting people, so bear with us. It might be a week or so before you hear back from
No
us.
problem.
But that was great.
All right,
Thanks
thanks
for coming
very
in.
much.
I'll show you around.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
nice
you,
to meet
Susanna.
you.
Nice
Cheers.
to meet you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks.
Susanna.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Return to the waiting room, collect your stuff. It's over till the next time. Casting is hard work and complex alchemy. It takes time to get the mixture of talent just right. You'll hear if you've got the part when they're ready to tell you. Please don't keep phoning to ask. And if you've put in the homework, given it your best shot, and you don't get the part, it's not your fault. As a casting director, what are you looking for when you first read a script? How do you begin the process of casting?
The first time I read a script, I'm just trying to get a handle on who these characters are. I'm just trying to work out how they relate to each other, what sort of journey they're going on emotionally, what happens to them physically, how they interact with the other characters, which I will then sort of draw up a character breakdown that I will then go and discuss with my director and producer. And based on those conversations, I will go away and start to draw up lists of actors that I think might be right to meet the director for this. If I'm stuck for ideas, I will sit down with the spotlight books and I will just go through, and sometimes when someone's face comes up that appeals to me or feels right, then I'll go and look up their CV or I'll find out more about them. So I think having a photo is very important. Where it goes from there to the point of actually auditioning is I will have people that I want the director to meet. They may have ideas of their own who we'll discuss and bring in. I may put breakdowns out. I can do that through Spotlight is the standard way to do that because you can reach a lot of people and get a quick response. And I might then, from that shortlist, people that I am not as familiar with but may have seen their work. Or sometimes if an agent suggests someone, I might just take a chance on them because they look interesting or they look like they might have the right feel for this character.
Are all screen auditions like the ones we've just seen?
No, I would say a majority of them are. But I think there's a lot of opportunities to work in different ways. And quite often, depending on the project, I'll use quite a lot of improvisation and get people on their feet doing things, particularly either if the script isn't very strong or if, in fact, there isn't that much dialogue, but it requires a lot of emotion. You might improvise a scene leading into the script we have to get people doing something on camera and to give them a build-up to something emotional rather than just having to step in and hit it. Sometimes I've done workshops for characters, particularly new regular characters coming into a series, we'll actually get a lot of actors in a room and we'll just play around and we'll almost invent the characters as we go along. And writers and producers will come to those sessions and start coming up with backstories and character descriptions as a result of that. Sometimes you would always get people in pairs, get them to read with each other rather than reading with the casting director or a reader. So there's many forms, but I would always assume that you will be put on tape.
If an actor doesn't get the script in advance, how early should they get to an audition?
I think the mistake a lot of actors make is they think, I just need to get there and read it and know what's happening in the scene. And what you actually need is time to read it, understand the scene, and work out the full emotional journey and different alternatives. You should never just go in with one option. Choose what you think is your best one, but have alternatives, because the director might ask you to try it a different way, in which case, if you've already worked that through, then you're one step ahead.
When an actor goes into an audition, if the people don't introduce themselves, should an actor ask all their names?
I think if there's only one or two people, or even three, I think it's worth knowing who is who, because you should have been told the people you're meeting, the casting director, and sometimes there'll be a producer in there as well. And I think it's useful to know which role everybody is playing. So there's no harm at the beginning of saying, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, or are you Catherine, are you Nick? Identifying who people are.
But do it discreetly rather than demandingly.
Yes, yeah, just, they should be courteous enough to introduce themselves. And as a casting director, I try and make that very clear, both so the director knows which actor is walking through the door, but also so the actor knows who I'm introducing them to. But yes, ask the question at the beginning rather than the end.
If an actor hasn't been working, what should they say when they're asked, what have you been doing recently?
I think always have a clear sense of what the last job was that you do want to talk about. But I think what's very interesting to hear is what people have been filling their time with. Have they been doing other creative things? Have they been writing? Have they been teaching? Have they been doing workshops? That's all very sort of valid and interesting ways to see that people are keeping their sort of acting energy going and using those muscles. People always worry about saying they haven't been doing anything. And it's not a problem. Everybody's careers go through cycles. We're all in the same position on all sides of the camera. So there's no problem in that. And I think it's better to be honest about it than to try and make anything up, because it shows.
Is there a limit to the amount of time an actor should give to explaining what they've been doing in the past? Is there a danger that they could babble on too much?
Sometimes people do get very carried away and you start to think, I've got 18 more people to see before lunch. But I don't want to interrupt them and be rude. So I think it's almost worth being part of your preparation as an actor, is to think about how you can sort of précise some of those things of what you've been doing and how you've been spending your time. Because sometimes you can sort of see panic flash in people's eyes as they realise they've been talking and they don't know how to stop. And it just unsettles them. And really, the reason we ask you what you've been doing is, apart from nosiness, is just to give you a chance to kind of relax and sort of arrive in the room and be comfortable so that we can then go into the readings. So if that process actually stresses you out, then it's been counterproductive. So just have a think about the questions they might ask you. Often it's, did you have far to travel? Have you been busy recently? What have you been up to recently? What jobs have you done that you loved? Those sort of questions, which is just to get you talking naturally and being yourself.
Is there a strict order to these questions, in that you would always get asked, what have you been doing before you read, or does it happen after?
Every director works in different ways, and I think it's very much about how the director and casting director have decided to run meetings. Often you will have a chat first, because that chat will lead into talking about the script, which will lead into the reading. Sometimes directors don't want to get wrapped up in that. They want to go straight into the read, get a sense of that person as that character, almost imprint them as the character before they imprint them as the actor. Particularly sometimes with highly emotional scenes, it's better to go in quite quickly rather than get lost in chat and having a laugh and all of that. You want to to sort of hold an emotion really and keep people focused. So you would start with readings first and then maybe have a chat at the end.
Okay.
Some directors aren't that worried about chatting, so it's quite quick and efficient. That's not a reflection of them not being interested. They just don't, again, they're interested in seeing you as the character, not necessarily engaging with you as an actor. It's just every director works differently.
Will an actor be asked to read all the scenes they're given?
Depending on how big the role is. I think at smaller roles you get people to read as much as possible. If you've got 12 massive scenes or a character is across several episodes, you won't ask them to do everything. Generally, what I try and do is give everybody everything. So every actor has all of their scenes, so they have a full sense of that character's journey. They can see how they move through a story and the emotional changes that will give them. But normally, because of time restrictions and the amount of people you want to see, you'll probably pick 2, maybe 3 key scenes that show very different aspects of that character's personality. So you might see them happy-go-lucky, relaxed, and then after some terrible incident or some piece of news or something like that. So it would be 2 contrasting scenes is what I would normally expect to do.
Will they know in advance what scenes they're going to be reading, or is there a surprise in store?
We won't always let actors know what scenes we're going to look at in advance. That might be simply because we haven't chosen the best ones yet. It might be because we want to see what scenes the actors prepared themselves. Quite often I throw it out at them and say, you should pick 2 scenes. I think actors should always be prepared to read any scene they're in. And that might seem like a lot of work if you've got 12 scenes, but quite often, even if we've chosen scenes in advance and you've done those, we might go, actually, there's an emotional beat in another scene. Can you just do that? So if you've prepared that in advance, it's going to come across better than if you've solely focused on the 2 scenes you've looked at, because all of those other scenes are going to inform the scenes that have been chosen in advance anyway.
When an actor's reading, can they stand up and move around?
I would always ask the question. I find it quite exciting, particularly if it's an energetic scene or the character is meant to be up and of some kind of high energy. I think it's much easier for the actor to generate that in a room like this if they're on their feet than sitting down. Do ask the question, because there will be a camera in the room, and if it's on a tripod, sometimes it's quite hard to film people. Sometimes directors want you to sit down so that there's a direct comparison to other actors they've seen for the same role. But I think if it helps you as an actor to move, absolutely ask the question.
What's the camera for?
The camera is the actor's best friend. And I know that many actors, when they come into a room, feel quite threatened by a camera on a tripod. It feels to be the dominant thing in the room. But actually what it is, it's a record of your audition. And if you leave and there's a difference of opinion in the room as to whether you hit a certain beat or whether you were quite right for the role, if the camera isn't there, all we have is our own personal opinions. Whereas if I have a tape that I can say to the director, no, they absolutely did that in that reading, watch this tape back, and I can show them that absolutely, as an actor, you hit that beat and you did that, then it's worked in your favour. Whereas if I don't have that tape, I can never convince a director that you did something or that you had a quality that they didn't think they saw.
Who else will see the tape?
The tape will definitely be seen by people on the production. That will be your producers, possibly series producers, executive producers. If it's a regular role or a big guest lead in a drama or a series, then it will absolutely go on up to commissioners and heads of dramas. It could be seen, by 7 or 8 people. And I think that's the mistake that a lot of actors made, is it's called going in for a read. Can you come in and read at an audition? It's not a read. All of those people are just seeing that audition. They're not meeting you. They're not looking at your CV. They're just evaluating your performance on what they see on that tape. So it's really important that it's not a read. It is a performance. It has to have shape to it. You have to hit the beats and we have to respond emotionally to what we're seeing, which means that you have to be investing in it emotionally as an actor.
If an actor fluffs or feels they haven't delivered a good performance, can they read again?
Absolutely. I think sometimes if actors get a line wrong or they lose their place, obviously it throws you, it takes you out of the moment, and it's perfectly acceptable. It happens all the time. Actors say, sorry, I'll just go back, or sorry, can I start the scene again? Or if you haven't completely come out of the zone, then just pick up on that line and carry on. It's not a problem at all. If you get to the end of a scene and you seriously feel that you didn't hit it, I think say that and say, I missed that beat, there's a turning point there, or there's a shift there, and I didn't get it. Because often, if the fact that you can acknowledge that, the fact that you can see that in your own performance, gives the director confidence in your abilities and your judgment as an actor. And they may well ask you to do it again, to give you a chance to hit that beat. They might say that's fine because they've seen enough of you in other scenes, or they're not worried about it. Or in fact, they thought you hit that beat and it wasn't a problem. I think don't use it as an excuse to spend a lot more time in the room. I'm sure all actors leave thinking, I probably could have done that better. We don't want you to do it 8 times and do it the same each time. I think if you do want to do it again, it's because you have something completely advanced, different, better to do.
If an actor's learnt the script, do they still need to hold it in their hand?
I always recommend that actors do. Quite often they like to put it down to prove that they've learned it. But what I find is even just holding it in their hand gives actors confidence that it's there if they do lose their place. And I think the most important thing is to stay in character. And it's awful if somebody's learnt it and actually all you're getting on their face is, what's my next line, what's my next line? Because they're panicking, and it happens a lot. Everything else zones out. You sort of get a blankness on one level behind their eyes because you can see them searching for that line. So I would say hold it. You can see whether somebody's learnt it or not because of how much eye contact they're giving you, by how much they're putting into it. If people haven't learnt it when they're stuck to the page, that's the problem of holding it, when that's all they can do because they don't know how to lift their head up. So I would say hold on to it and be comfortable.
Will it go against an actor if they paraphrase?
I think it's an area to be very careful with. Sometimes if people have learned a script but not well enough, they tend to sort of paraphrase their way through a script, which can come across as, I know how to say this character's line's better than the writers did. I think if there's a particular line that you're really struggling with, you just don't know how to make that line work, then I would flag it up before you read the scene and say to the director, I can't make this work. Can I say it like this? Because often what you find over a day of auditioning, that every actor has had a problem with exactly the same line, and it is a problem with the script. And it will be something that's altered in later drafts, because we're working off such early drafts in auditions. There are problems with the dialogue. But I think be very careful, try and stick to what's there, and it's only if you really have a problem as the character saying the line that you should change it.
If an actor's asked to read again by the director, what should they do? Is there anything they should particularly look out for?
If you're asked to read again, it doesn't necessarily mean you did something wrong in your first read. You might have done the absolute perfect representation of that scene. Often directors are just looking to see if you have a bit of flexibility as an actor. If I give them this note, can they change it? Can they go in a slightly different way? Because often the auditioning process is a finding out process for the director as much as it is for anybody about who these characters are. Quite often we'll have 4 actors come in. They'll each play a character completely differently. They might all work as ways of playing that character. And directors might just want to try different things to see, well, maybe that would work with this character. So they might just be exploring, seeing what else you can do. It's not necessarily a criticism of your first reading.
What happens if they ask an actor to do it in another accent?
If you're asked to do a part in an accent that you haven't prepared, I think you need to be very honest about how comfortable you are with that accent. I know people get very carried away with their CVs and say they can do a lot of accents as native, and often they can't. And I think even people with a very, very good ear for accents need to just tune into that so that they have the rhythms of it in their head. So I would say, unless you can absolutely snap into an accent and you're very comfortable with it, I would say, I'll give it a go, but I would like to go and work on it. Or what I would even suggest they do is say, can I go out you see another person and I'll come back in again.
What if an actor's asked to read for another part?
If you're in an audition and you've given a reading for the part that you've prepared, you may well be asked to read another part on the spot. And I think actors should look at that as a sort of a 2 for the price of 1 opportunity. You know, they've obviously liked what you've done to the point that they're interested in seeing you do something else. And often, because it's not just about casting people in isolation, it's about casting people across a script, across a drama. You might see a flicker in someone that you think, oh, well, that could work very well for that character. So I think absolutely, you know, go for it. They might just say, look, just read it here now off the page. We all know when we ask actors to do that, it's not going to be their best work because they haven't prepared it. They might ask you to go out of the room and come back in 15 minutes. Just give it your best shot. We know what we've asked you to do, and it's just an opportunity to show another side of your acting.
Do casting directors mind actors sending them CVs and photographs?
Not at all. I think it's very important that actors do send CVs and letters and photographs out to casting directors, especially if it's a casting director you haven't met. You want to bring yourself to their attention, and the best way to do that is to put something solid in front of them to look at. I think the best way to do that is not to do the scattergun approach, which feels very satisfying when you have a pile of 150 envelopes all stamped up and ready to go out in the post. But I think what's better is to be more specific. Do your research as an actor. Being an actor isn't just about what you do on set. It's about knowing the industry. It's about knowing the casting directors who are right for you, who are casting the sort of things that you should be in. So do some homework. Find out who those casting directors are. If you're from Manchester, there's a couple of casting directors who do 90% of the stuff in Manchester. They should know who you are. If you know you're good at comedy, who are the casting directors who specialise in comedy, in television and film? You can find this stuff out, and I think it's much more important that you send out 30 specific than just 150 scattergun, because then you can tell that person why they should meet you and why they should know who you are. Write to them directly. The To Whom It May Concern letter is not written to anyone specific and will not be read by anyone specific. Know who you're writing to, know why they should know who you are. And absolutely, that's the CV and letter I want to receive.
What do you feel about actors sending you show reels?
I think it's very important that actors have show reels. I think it's very important that they are professional standard material. Personally, I'm not that interested in seeing people do monologues against the curtains. Do you know what I mean? I think it's much more important to get some professional stuff or some short films, or if you go on a course where they will record a showreel material for you, then that's all perfectly acceptable. I think what you need to be careful with is how you distribute that. Randomly sending DVDs to people isn't that useful. I think it's brilliant to have an online version, be it on Spotlight or on another website, that I can look at. Because if I have, considering 2 actors that I don't know for a role, and one of them has a show reel I can watch, if I can look up their CV on Spotlight and they have a show reel and the other person doesn't, I'm more likely to take a chance on the person who has the show reel accessible in that way. I wouldn't, in that situation, phone them and ask them to send it in. So I think a digital version is fantastic because of speed, and it means it's already there on my computer. But I think they're a great tool and shouldn't be undervalued.
Casting directors are very hard-working and important people in our industry. Upset them at your peril. They can create life-changing opportunities for people with the talent and commitment to be professional actors. People like you. This is a very basic studio set. Like all stage scenery, whether it's for London's West End or a school play, it's made up of timber flats, screwed together and supported by bracing. It's decorated only where it'll be seen by a camera. In this case, that's just on the inside. It's furnished according to its function, a living room. This is Alton, Susanna, Sam and Claire. They're all professional actors, they tell me, and they're going to help me show you or remind you of some basic screen acting technique. Let's first look at shot sizes. It's helpful for you as an actor to understand what different sizes of shot are called. You need to appreciate how much movement you can have within the frame. That's the border of the picture, so you don't do your best work out of shot. It's also very important in close shots not to overact. Let's have a look at these shots that are used in this short scene between Rob and Carol.
This is a wide shot. At the start of a scene, it's also called an establishing shot, used to show the relationship of characters to each other and to their surroundings.
What?
What? Well, why didn't you just say?
This is a medium wide shot. As with a full wide shot, it's used to show geography or big bits of movement.
She asked you not to say. But I don't understand. She's my best friend. We all share a flat together. What could she possibly tell you that she can't tell me?
These are mid-shots, which show individual action and expression.
Is it the car? I said I'll pay for the damage. I told her last week.
These are medium close-ups, or MCUs. You can see the closer we get to the faces, the more emotion is revealed, both by the speaker and the listener. Notice also how the drama is intensified as the faces become larger in the frame.
Why didn't she tell me?
And these are close-ups. We rarely get this close to strangers in real life. Because the audience is now so intimately close, it's vital the actor is absolutely immersed in their character's thoughts and feelings, completely in the moment.
Rob.
Being in the moment is generally regarded as the key to giving a convincing performance on stage and on screen. It's your skill as an actor to completely inhabit the character you're playing. The thoughts you have, the words you speak, the emotions you feel and express are only the characters. You, the actor, become the character. For the best performance, this requires unswerving concentration, sometimes a great deal of physical energy, and it's not always possible. But it is a fundamental skill that every actor must try to master. Think of it like this, especially when it's this close. The camera can see in your head. In this scene, Alicia is going to tell Ben something important.
How's your day?
Good. Yeah, good. Carol's old man came ploughing through this morning, all backslapping and bonhomie as usual, chatting up the girls. Hold a lech.
How is Max?
Successful, rich, bastard. Gave me a very warm handshake.
That's nice.
Nice. Yeah, good to be mates with the boss, I suppose. Your day?
Fine.
Can you see that Ben and Alicia aren't really listening to each other? They're each waiting for the other to finish speaking, waiting only for their own cues to speak, rather than hearing what the other's actually saying. This makes their performance lackluster and unnatural.
Baby thing?
Oh, I thought we'd agreed we can adopt. We agreed, didn't we, Alicia?
Ben, there's something I have to tell you.
What? What could you possibly tell me that I don't already know? I fire blanks, I can't give you a baby. I play cards, I lose money. There isn't anything you could tell me I don't already know, is there? Is there?
Of course, as an actor, you'll generally learn your lines from a script written by someone else. Hopefully, you'll have rehearsed these lines with your fellow cast members before filming. Nevertheless, for credible, naturalistic, watchable performance, you must make the words your own. And most importantly, you must listen to each other. You must hear the words for the first time, every time. Let's rerun that scene and notice how differently they're working now.
How's your day?
Good. Yeah, good. Carol's old man came ploughing through this morning, all backslapping and bonhomie as usual. Chatting up the girls. Old lech.
How is Max?
Successful, rich, bastard. Gave me a very warm handshake.
Oh, that's nice.
Nice. Yeah. Good to be mates with the boss, I suppose. Your day?
Fine, yeah. Usual stuff. That's what I do. Stuff. It's all so tedious.
They're in the moment, concentrating, listening to what each other's saying and reacting appropriately. It's much more interesting and rewarding to watch.
It's not the money thing again, is it? I thought we'd done all that.
No, it's not the money thing.
Good. Only my hair shirt's giving me a rash. What then?
The baby thing.
I thought we'd agreed we can adopt. We agreed, didn't we, Alicia?
Ben, there's something I have to tell you.
What? What could you possibly tell me that I don't already know? I fire blanks, I can't give you a baby. I play cards, I lose money. There isn't anything you could tell me I don't already know, is there? Is there?
In all theatrical performance, how you react is just as important as how you act. On stage, sometimes you have to make a body movement as well as a sizable change of expression to show a reaction. This is so it can be seen from the back of the auditorium, not so on the screen. Look at this piece we showed earlier and notice how Rob and Carol play their reactions.
What?
What? Well, why didn't you just say?
We had a drink. One drink. Alicia wanted to talk. We talked. That's it.
What about?
She asked me not to say.
She asked you not to say. I don't understand. She's my best friend. We all share a flat. What could she possibly tell you that she can't tell me? Well, have I done something, said something to upset her? Is it the car? I said I'd pay for the damage. I told her last week.
Carol, it's not the car.
Well, what then?
By being in the moment and by listening to each other, their visual reactions tell us much more about what they're thinking and feeling than what they're saying.
She's pregnant.
Pregnant? Why didn't she tell me? But how can she be pregnant? I mean, they've both been tested. Ben can't have. Who's the father?
Another skill being brought to bear in that scene is the actor's stillness. As we saw earlier, the tighter the shot, the less room there is for movement. Tight shots are often filmed on what are called longer lenses, and these are very unforgiving to an actor. Have a look at this.
Carol.
Just tell me, are you the father? Rob, for God's sake, just tell me, are you the father to Alicia's baby? Have you and Alicia been behind my back?
No, we haven't.
Can you see how little space in the frame there is for the actors to move without getting masked or leaving the shot?
No, it's not difficult. All you had to do was say. You can tell me anything, everything. I love you, and you love me. Unless you're lying. Are you lying?
No. Carol.
Just tell me then. If it's not you and it can't be Ben, who's the father?
It's your dad. Okay, it's Max.
If you understand the old theatrical expression, less is more, then you'll appreciate that's no truer than on camera. Especially when a director uses these close shots, you do less. When you're acting for the camera, stillness is something you must deliver, especially during dialogue. Doesn't mean you can't move at all. It means you must consider your movements and be aware of the camera. This will also help to moderate your performance throughout. Doing less is as true for sound as it is for action. Listen to Carol and Alicia's conversation.
Carol, what is it? Oh, God, Rob told you.
Yes, Alicia, Rob told me. I know what you've done, what you've been doing. How could you? How could you do it to me? How could you do it to Ben?
Oh, Carol, listen.
How long's it been going on? Months? Years? And why him?
I didn't mean to. Carol, listen. Just please listen, okay? I didn't plan it.
As the shots tighten, the microphone is brought closer to the actors so the sound and picture perspective feels correct. The actors talk at levels appropriate to the emotions of the scene.
Or something, and I felt so alone and empty. I needed to be needed, and I couldn't talk to you because
why him? Why Max? He's my father, Alicia. My sleazy, sex-mad father.
I don't understand. Max.
But Rob told me. You're pregnant and Max is the father.
If you have to shout or whisper as part of the action, you'll need to do this in rehearsal. The sound recordist and the boom swinger can then adjust the microphone's position accordingly. And please don't forget, when you're talking in your character's normal voice, your diction, your clarity of speech is important, especially at the start of any performance. You need to let the audience get used to your voice. Now, let's return to what the camera sees.
244 quid. I mean, what are the odds? 500 to 1. And then this guy, Ricky, he puts down a full house.
Alton's doing something lots of actors, even experienced ones, do unwittingly. He's flicking his eyeline back and forth between Sam's eyes. It's very nervy and distracting.
Has been for weeks. At least boss man Max is Mr. Friendly. And you're still the same. You seem to have it all worked out, you and Carol, all loved up. You're a lucky guy, mate.
If unsure and nervy is how you want your character to appear, go ahead and do the flicky eye thing, but use it sparingly, otherwise it'll become a bad habit. For most performance, there's a better way. Look at Sam's eyeline here.
Listen, Ben, it's not all plain sailing with Carol.
He's looking at the off-camera side of Alton's face.
Messes Carol's mum around even though they're separated. And her mum gets onto Carol and Carol bends my ear about it all the time.
If Sam uses the eye furthest from camera to look at Alton's eye nearest the camera, this brings more of Sam's face into the shot. We can read more of his expression.
And maybe you should look for a new job. You know, or go travelling, go abroad. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you and Alicia need some time apart. Bit of space and all that. Why not? What's to lose?
Another actor's habit on camera is blinking. It can be very distracting and is certainly weakening as a character trait. Look at Alton and Sam here.
At least boss man Max is Mr. Friendly. And you're still the same. You just seem to have it all worked out, you and Carol. All loved up. You're a lucky guy, mate.
Listen, Ben, it's not all plain sailing with Carol. I mean, you know what Max is like. He's terrible. Messes Carol's mum around even though they're separated. And her mum gets onto Carol and Carol bends my ear about it all the time.
Not compelling, is it? I hope you can see that being in control of how you appear on camera is fundamental to good performance. Now, another screen skill you need to embrace is one dreaded by many experienced actors: continuity. A major part of the creative process for film and TV is editing, joining together the best shots of the best performances to make the best end product. You may do several takes of just one shot in a scene to get it right. That scene may require many different shots of the action and dialogue to tell the story. So, your actions from one shot to another within each scene must be consistent. Oh, you might say, isn't there a continuity girl to keep an eye on all that? Won't she tell me if I do or say something wrong? The short answer is yes, he or she will. But it's not that simple. Take a look at this scene you watched earlier.
How was your day?
Good. Yeah, good. Carol's old man came ploughing through this morning, all back slapping and bonhomie as usual. Chatting up the girls. Old lech.
How is Max?
Successful, rich, bastard. Your day?
Fine, yeah. Usual stuff. That's what I do. Stuff. It's all so tedious. Ben, I think we need to talk.
Talk. It's not the money thing again, is it? I thought we'd done all that.
No, it's not the money thing.
Good. Only my hair shirt's giving me a rash. What then?
The baby thing.
Ugh, I thought we'd agreed we can adopt. We agreed, didn't we, Alicia?
Ben, there's something I have to tell you.
What? What could you possibly tell me that I don't already know? I fire blanks, I can't give you a baby. I play cards, I lose money. There isn't anything you could tell me I don't already know, is there? Is there?
Did you spot the continuity errors? They were put there deliberately. Take a look.
How was your day?
Good.
In a vulnerable moment, Susie has instinctively raised her arm across herself in a protective gesture.
Yeah, good. Carol's old man came ploughing through this morning, all back slapping and bonhomie as usual.
In another take, she's failed to repeat this gesture.
Chatting up the girls. Old lech.
How is Max?
Successful.
From one take to another, Alton has changed his left arm movements.
Gave me a very warm handshake.
Oh, that's nice.
Nice. Yeah. Good to be mates with the boss, I suppose. Your day?
When you're in the moment, it's very difficult to avoid spontaneous gestures unless you plan your movements, or do as little as possible. Or better still, do both.
I think we need to talk.
Talk. It's not the money thing again, is it? I thought we'd done all that.
No, it's not the money thing.
Good. Only my hair shirt's giving me a rash. What then?
The baby thing.
Ugh, I thought we'd agreed we can adopt. We agreed, didn't we, Alicia?
Ben, there's something I have to tell you.
What? What could you possibly tell me that I don't already know? I fire blanks, I can't give you a baby. I play cards, I lose money. There isn't anything you could tell me I don't already know, is there?
In the passion of his performance, Alton has changed his gestures.
I can hear you screaming now. How am I meant to do less, be aware of the camera, the size of the shot, the level of my voice, where I'm looking, my continuity, and be in the moment? Well, the answer is something I mentioned before. Homework. As you learn your lines, you need to think about what you're going to do physically as well as mentally. Of course, you can't legislate for what you don't know.
For example, you can't know how your director will block a scene. That's positioning the actors and action for best effect. So you can't know which hand you'll need to pick up a prop that might be mentioned in the stage directions. But you can rehearse making fewer gestures with your hands and face as you learn the lines. And you can plan to avoid unnecessary body movements. And you can give some serious thought to your voice levels. The general rule is, when in doubt, do less.
There are just two more things I want to mention about screen acting. In the high-pressured whirl of filming, it's sometimes easy to forget that your job as an actor is to serve the story the writer has created. You must make the audience want to watch you using the material you've been given. It's also part of the job to stick to the script. Most writers give an agonizing amount of care and attention to each word and has put it there for a reason. you have a duty of care to try and make the writer's words work. If you have problems with the script, always ask the director. There's lots more stuff I can tell you about screen acting, but it'll have to wait for another time. For now, the last all-important skill you need to nurture is a can-do attitude. Like stage work, filmmaking and TV production are team games where everyone relies on each other to do the best possible job. It's important to remember that you cannot be a star without all the people around you. A positive approach and respect for everyone around you is what's expected. So, here's a summary of the things we've demonstrated.
Be aware of the frame and shot size. Listen and react. Use appropriate voice levels. Be aware of your eye line. Reduce unnecessary movement. Be aware of your continuity. Do your homework. Serve the script and the story. Respect your teammates. Be in the moment.
If all this seems impossible, take heart. When you're learning to ride a bicycle, all you can think about is how to keep your balance and not hurt yourself. Once you're a confident rider, your skills are ingrained and you concentrate on your speed and direction. So it is with being in the moment. Once you've mastered the technicalities of controlling your performance, you can concentrate on your character's thoughts and feelings. If you're really an actor, you can do it. Here in the studio, we're going to address some of the issues related to making acting a career. Tim Kent runs the successful training business, the Actors Studio, here at Pinewood. He was an agent for more than 10 years and is also a producer. Tim has some straightforward answers to questions most frequently asked by actors. And these actors are here to ask them. They're all talented and all determined to succeed. Let's have the first question, please.
What do agents actually do?
The primary role of an agent is to help you get work. Agents generally find out about acting auditions that aren't in the public realm. Once you've been offered work, an agent will negotiate the artist's fee and contract, and a good agent will also advise you on making career choices.
How can I get an agent?
An agent needs to see you perform. You wouldn't buy a car that you've never seen or driven. How an actor performs and what he or she has on their CV will help an agent make a calculated business choice on representation. For example, if you've had a lot of exposure in TV and film, it's far easier for an agent to sell you. If you're new to the business, having a relatively new agent can be a good thing, as they'll work hard to promote you. Established agents tend to look after established actors. Large agencies that look after well-known actors usually won't have the time to invent newcomers. I think as an actor it's important to be realistic, so you need to research agencies and the clients that they represent. When you've something constructive like a performance coming up, then contact them with an invitation to come and see you.
Who are good agents?
Good agents are those who get you auditions and negotiate well for you. How do you know who's a good agent? Ask other actors and industry people who can give you first-hand knowledge. It's important when you go in to see an agent, make a list of questions that you want to ask if you get an offer of representation. When you meet an agent, use your own instincts on whether you think the relationship will work. It's important to remember that an agent and an actor are in a business marriage, and the heart of a good business and a good marriage is good communication. Don't forget, this is your career.
I've only had a few auditions, but friends of mine with other agents have had lots. Should I change my agent?
I think actors always think, why wasn't I seen for that job? Agents are the same. They think, why won't they see my actors? Well, to be honest, it's not that easy. For most projects, casting directors and producers only have enough time to see a handful of actors for each available part. So there's a lot of choice. You've got to be proactive by networking, creating opportunities to act, making yourself visible in the industry. Changing agents will only help at particular stages in your career, if and when the relationship between your current agent has sort of outlived its usefulness.
What things do I need to help me get an agent and acting work?
I think it's important to remember it's a business. Essential tools for actors are good photographs, a show reel and a voice reel. Most casting professionals will only see you for an audition if you've been recommended or they've seen you act. You must also be constantly working on your craft, reading scripts, doing workshops and masterclasses. Meet people, be seen. Casting directors have so much choice, so having everything going for yourself is a big help, not just for you, but for your agent as well.
How can I make a living whilst I'm auditioning?
If I'm being brutally honest, most actors are frequently unemployed for long periods. They act for the love of the craft. So it's no good just sitting at home waiting for Steven Spielberg to call you, because it's not going to happen. So you need to go out there and find something so you've got money coming in that you can pay the bills and you can have a reasonable standard of living. You need to do something like be a personal trainer, be a taxi driver, for instance, so you could drive to a casting, go into the casting, come out and you're working straight away. Make sure you're happy in life. Sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring can be a lonely and very depressing prospect. So think about having a business that you can always have when you're not working as an actor. And I think that is very, very important.
How should I approach agents?
The best way to approach agents is when you've got something constructive to say to them. So if you've got a show reel or you've got something to invite them to, then that's the time to contact them. It's pointless ringing up agents and sending CVs and photos ad hoc.
How much commission should I pay an agent?
Most agents would charge around about 10 to 12.5% for theatre work. And some agents will charge up to around 15% for film, television and commercials, but really you shouldn't be looking to be paying any more than that.
Should I pay an agent even if I get work myself?
In my opinion, the answer to that is yes. Agents work incredibly hard to get you work, and sometimes you will all get work directly. When that happens, it's not something that you can think, OK, great, I can keep the money to myself. Because your agent's working hard. It's a marriage of business. So sometimes you have to give a little bit back. Give your agent the commission and also take your agent out for lunch occasionally so you can have a good working relationship with them. You can communicate with them. Don't hold it all inside thinking, I haven't had a casting for 6 months. Well, you need to communicate with them. Maybe there's something that you're doing that will help your agent or help you in your acting career.
How important is Spotlight and Casting Call Pro?
They're both very important because if you think for actors, really, they are the two things that market you. So having everything on Spotlight and Casting Call Pro, like a show reel, a voice reel, a very up-to-date CV, are very, very important because that's how all the industry people see you. A lot of casting directors will look at show reels because they're sitting in front of their computers all day long. It's an easy way for them to see new talent if you're not on film and television.
How can I get work without an agent?
There are all sorts of breakdown and casting services that you can subscribe to, like PCR, Casting Call Pro, and if you haven't got an agent, then obviously you can get breakdowns from Spotlight. And wherever you live, even if it's not in this country or you're in Europe or in America working as an actor, you can certainly get out there and buy magazines, buy publications, look on the internet, go to theatre, write to theatres, write to young student filmmakers, write to directors, and just try and get yourself in the door. You need to network, you need to be seen. You know, you can't just stay inside. You've got to get out there. Acting is about being seen, and without being seen, no one's going to book you as an actor.
Do agents use Spotlight?
Absolutely, yes. It's the way that casting directors send the breakdowns through to the agents, and then the agents then suggest the actors that they represent through Spotlight back to the casting director.
What do you think about actors trying to work in America?
If I'm absolutely honest, and I was an agent for nearly 10 years, when actors used to say to me, I'm going to go to America, I would die, because as an English agent, you'd no longer be able to make money out of them. So it's the quickest way to lose an English agent. That's a serious consideration. The other considerations are, it's a very, very tough nut to crack and a very expensive one.
Does going to drama school help, and why?
Yes, of course it helps. I mean, you wouldn't open up a hairdresser's if you couldn't cut hair. It's similar in acting. You don't suddenly say, I'm an actor, if you haven't been to acting school. Yes, people have a natural aptitude to act, but going to drama school for 3 years or a year full-time gives you a fantastic launching pad, and it also gives you the opportunity at the end of it to be seen by a lot of industry professionals like casting directors and agents, which then give you the platform to get work. Without that platform and not going to drama school, it's just more of an uphill struggle. And we know acting is hard enough as it is. So I think it's very important to get as many of the tools that you need to move forward in your acting career.
Do I need to be an equity member?
You don't need to be an equity member to work professionally as an actor, but it certainly does help, and there are a lot of benefits with being an equity member.
I live in the north. Do you think that living in London would help me get more work?
I think the most important thing is that you're accessible. I think as soon as you say you either are based in the north or you're based in the south, you just get pigeonholed. So I think it's important really not to put yourself in any particular place and just say you're available for castings in the north and in the south, and you have bases in both places, and it's not a problem.
What are your recommendations regarding tax and being self-employed?
It's something that actors should take very seriously as soon as they sort of start their professional careers. It's worth talking initially to an accountant. You need to start getting receipts, and you need to get yourself set up as being a self-employed artist, and you have all sorts of benefits with that. Anything that you buy to do with your business, you can offset that against your tax bill, and that's not quite as simple as being PAYE, so you certainly need to speak to somebody so you start off on the right tracks, and you need to do that as soon as you start professional work.
Thank you for watching. We really hope it sheds some light on the business of screen acting. We'd very much appreciate any feedback you can give us, so please take the time to email us at this address. I'd also like to thank all the brilliant people who worked so hard to bring this practical help to you. For now, goodbye.